Okay, you guys, I think I'm finally live. So that was so much fun. Not figuring out what was going on with the camera and the streaming and all that fun stuff was not the most fun I've ever had in my life, but it's okay. And I'm going to adjust the camera a little bit, you guys. So if I reach over and you see me do that, that is what is going on because ugh, technology. I love it, and sometimes it is a pain in the butt. So, what's been going on? And I got to remember to look at the camera because I want to look down at my laptop. Deep breath in. Whew. All right. So, I'm live, you guys. I tried to go live at 4 and I was having technical difficulties. And no matter what I did, I couldn't get the YouTube software to pull the video from where I wanted to. I set it to the camera on my laptop. I use my cell phone as a camera with some software. Didn't want to do that. It kept trying to use a third party streamer. I know that I had it set to webcam when I first set it up. So much fun. Not. It's all good. It's all good. So, anyways, I'm going to tap a little bit on the screen. I'm letting people know that I've actually gone live. Um, it has been so much fun. So, hey, how are you doing, everybody? I'm so glad to be here. I used to do these lives on Facebook, and I decided it was time to put on my big girl pants and jump in with YouTube and figure it out. And what I have learned is this: don't get yourself wrapped around the axle thinking you have to have everything just right. The equipment, cameras, lighting, mics, all that stuff. Just jump in and you can figure it out as you go. Seriously, this is life. This is how life works. Hold on, I'm just adding the link to the live onto some social media sites. Well, I think the biggest hurdle for any of us in life is getting over that fear of we're not going to do it right or we're not going to do it just so. Like, if you suffer from perfectionism, you know exactly what I'm talking about. You can't get anything started, much less done, until you know exactly how you need to do it. Problem is with real life, that's just that's going to halt you in your tracks. You're not going to get anywhere. I mean, you can get places that way, but it's very slow, it's very halting. It takes a lot of, oh, I don't know, energy. It really wears you out, to be quite honest. It wears you down. And just be aware of that. It's not a good thing to put everything on hold until you figure out exactly the way it's supposed to go, because there really isn't a supposed to. All right, so I'm putting in a link here to let people know we're out here. All right, deep breath. So I wanted to come on and chat today about a few things. So if you followed me on Facebook, you know I would come on live, especially during the beginning of the pandemic, and talk about everything and anything just to keep myself connected and to keep me from going a little bit crazy when everything was really harshly locked down. So, what I came up with was just to trust myself and trust the process. And that is a big conversation I'm going to have with you guys today. So, first, let's talk about Shadow the Witch. So I am still in publishing mode. Now, if you want the pre-release version of it in paperback form, that is out there on Amazon. You can go find it. Just search for Shadow of the Witch by Melissa Lummis on Amazon. It should pop up for you. However, I only have it in paperback right now. And that was a special edition before I could do all my beautiful polishing on it. So what you're going to get is a little bit messy if you go for that one. But it will be unique because once I get the cleaned up thing done, I will take down that paperback and I won't be selling it. Although Amazon makes me keep the listing up, I guess, in case somebody else has it and wants to sell it. But that particular version is going to go the way of the dinosaur, and I will start all over fresh. All right, just putting in letting my coven know I'm out here. So that is my group. That's my Facebook group for my author stuff. It's called Melissa's Coven. And we do talk witchy stuff in there. Mostly we just chat about books we're reading and what my new latest thing is coming up. And it is called Melissa's Coven. It is a private group. I don't even know if you can search for it right now. Maybe it shows up. I'm putting it on live on YouTube. Come chat with me. And there we go. And I'm posting it. So Shadow the Witch, I'm hoping to have a big release by Halloween. And again, that's all dependent on how well I do with my cleanup. Like I said, I have a lot of cleanup work to do on it still. But I really wanted to have something to take with me to the Orlando Reads Books event. So, and I'm not, at one point I might have been a little nervous about putting something out that wasn't like perfect, but just as I started this video with there's no such thing as perfect, or if you're waiting for perfect and knowing exactly how things are going to get done, you're going to be waiting for a long, long time because nothing is ever perfect, including lives on YouTube and lives on Facebook and all of that good stuff. All right. I want to talk about perfect and not perfect. Hey, I see Amy out there. Hi, love. I'm here too. Finally, yes, she's been with me as I've tried to get this live. I actually had a live going closer to 4 o'clock when I was supposed to be here, but I couldn't get the camera to work. I could get the microphone to work, audio to work, but not the camera. So you couldn't see my beautiful face. Anyways, you guys. So I spent a lot of my life trying to do things the right way or perfectly, or wanted to know exactly how things were going to get done, the best way to do things before I even started. And what that added up to was a lot of procrastination. And I realized I was tired of procrastinating. I'm going to fix the camera, you guys. I was tired of procrastinating. And I realized I just needed to start doing things. And things started to change when that happened. It wasn't overnight. The things that I worried about, the anxiety I had about making mistakes, that did happen, but not in the destructive or, oh my God, this is the end of the world kind of way I guess my mind had built it up into. So what I learned to do was to just jump in. Like I never would have published my first novel, Enlightened, if I had stuck with those, I have to do things a certain way, if that makes sense. What I learned is just jump in and do it. Figure out KDP, which is the Kindle Direct Publishing dashboard. Figure it out as you go. Down the road, you will make mistakes. Happy? No. It's just Connor coming home from school. And in case you guys have never met or didn't know, I had gotten a new dog after my Mina passed. This is Happy sitting in here with me, and she likes to bark when anybody comes to visit. She is a very, very sweet girl, and she's not particularly barky. She just likes to let me know people are coming. She's a retired service dog for a hearing aid dog. So I'm not sure how the barking works as being a hearing aid dog, a dog for the deaf, but I was informed that deaf is not necessarily like can't hear anything. And a bark of a dog is something you might actually feel the vibration of in your chest, and something you would be able to hear better than just people talking, which I didn't know. There's all different hearing impairments. All right, back to my topic. And that is doing things even though you don't know exactly how to get them done. It's jumping in and trying it, and sometimes making mistakes and sometimes looking foolish. And I think I've come to terms with that. As 45 minutes ago, I was out here on YouTube with a live video that had no video and only sound. And it's like, you know what? So be it. And then I couldn't find the button to end stream because somehow I got off the main screen and it wouldn't take me back. And I didn't know what I was doing. And it's okay. You're not going to die. Well, Most things you're not going to die. I wouldn't want to start an expedition to the North Pole without understanding what you're going to have to deal with and doing some research. So, okay, there are extreme situations where you don't want to just jump in and make all the mistakes you're going to make along the way. One of the things I've learned about live streaming is to just go with it and to learn to just talk as if you're talking to a friend. And that's where starting out on some place like Facebook, like in a private group, is really helpful because you can make your mistakes and look foolish in a smaller group who isn't going to give you such a hard time about it. And you don't have the trolls out there who are going to be mean to you. So, one of the things I really wanted to talk about, if you saw in the description, was my new moon intentions. And if you know me, you know I work with the cycles of the moon. Some months I'm really on top of it and working on everything. Other months I take time off and say, I don't need to be so detail oriented every single month of my life. Sometimes I just need to let myself be. I don't have to be setting intentions every new moon, although I think what I do, even on those months where I'm not being very detailed oriented and writing everything down and doing my rituals, I always do a ritual, but it can be something really relaxed. Like I'm going to sit with a cup of tea, herbal tea, or something that resonates with me and set the intention that I am just going to flow with things. And that's what I wanted to bring up. The last few months of my year of wellness, and a year of wellness is a program that I'm running with a small group of people. It's a beta program on moving from the current paradigm of what wellness is, which is the exercise, dieting, um, kind of limiting structured programs to actually working on a well-rounded sense of being. So from physically focused to more whole, complete wellness, which takes into account not only your physical, but your emotional, your spiritual, and your intellectual wellness. The program right now, again, is under development. I don't have all the details worked out. So see how this goes along with what I was saying. It's like I just jumped in and I said, it's something I feel really called to, but I'm not ready to put something out that's I'm going to have to do a whole marketing thing on. And I really need to work through, what do I really believe about wellness? What have I learned about wellness? And I had to trust myself in that process, that along the way, I'm going to figure it out. I had the basics, the bone structure of it, but I needed some people to work with to really explore what it is, what wellness really is, because we've been sold, and I mean sold, this idea of wellness that it's eating the perfect clean diet, whatever that is, maybe vegan, maybe, or what's everybody doing? Paleo, low carb, no carb, no sugar, only eating clean foods, only eating things that were grown locally, only eating, you get my drift. Lot around what we eat and then what our bodies look like. And let's be frank, that's easy to sell, right? People want to look a certain way. So when it comes to exercise regimens or diets, they can put a pretty picture up there of somebody who looks like what they think their audience wants to look like and say, hey, we'll get you to this. And so wellness has really gotten down to physical fitness, not necessarily what I consider wellness. Now, you guys, I was in the fitness industry for about 15 years before I left it because I had chronic shoulder pain from my exercise routine. So as you guys have heard the story before, if you follow me at all, if you're brand new, suffice it to say, I was a personal trainer, yoga teacher, and a fitness instructor. I taught TRX, I taught spin and yoga. And bottom line, I came out of the industry going, something's not right here. It's very focused on appearance. And even though they give lip service to, oh, you're going to lower your cholesterol, you're going to improve, fill in the blank, whatever health issues may have, it was a byproduct of focusing on this issue of how much you weigh and what you look like. And in my mind, at the beginning, that was okay. And I was all right with it. But what I started to figure out is creating a mental dysfunction, a mental unwellness where we are so hyper focused on this one particular area in our life that it drains energy from all the other areas of our lives. And what I also started to figure out is depending on your exercise regimen and your carefully organized eating regimen, you may or may not have the energy to work on other things or to put into your life in other ways. And your mental space, your mental energy is being drained away, focusing on this. What am I eating? We used to say in one of the weight loss groups that I was in that we tracked every lick, bite, and chew. And at first, I didn't think anything of it. And then over time, I started to like really hear that phrase because every time we got together, the person in charge would say, tracking every lick, bite, and chew. And it started to really bother me. Like, something's wrong with that. Something doesn't feel right. And I realized after years and years and years of being in the fitness industry and focusing on my appearance, because you need to look a certain way in order for people to hire you, because who's going to hire somebody who doesn't look like what they want to look like? I realized that I had created an eating disorder where I couldn't eat unless I knew exactly what I was eating, how many calories were in it, how much butter, how much bread, how much, pasta, all of this. I had to know exactly what I was eating. And sure, you get to eyeball it over time, but to know if it's a cup of pasta, your perspective changes. So here I was measuring things. I take some time off. I'd see my weight kind of creep up and I go, oh, I must be getting my portions off again. And then I'd get back in and measure them and get it under control, get all my measuring spoons and ladles and all that stuff out. And I realized I was putting a lot of energy into controlling what I ate. And so it started to dawn on me that maybe fitness, physical fitness, maybe it is about, measuring your heart rate, because there's another part, measuring your heart rate, stepping on the scale, how much do you weigh, taking measuring tapes around your body, your stomach's this many inches, your chest is this many inches. There was so much measuring going on. And I realized, what are we really measuring? What do all these stats say about us? And in the end, all they say is from measuring your food to measuring your exercise and the results of the exercise on your body, what you're measuring is energy and how you are using your energy. And so I started to think, so then is wellness about managing your energy? Because come on, we've all been taught that wellness is about managing our weight. I mean, that's what it's boiled down to, right? You go to the doctor, what's the first thing they do? They measure your weight. Do you know why they do that? Give you a little inside tip. They do that because they can put a code on your form that they send to the insurance company that they did that. And that's a code, and that code counts. And so they get paid for it, basically. So if you're refusing to step on the scale, they lose $5 or something. I don't know. Something to that extent. I actually went and found myself a doctor that doesn't do that. So, anyways, if you don't like getting weighed at the doctor, there are doctors who don't do that. You can find them. So what I realized, again, what is wellness? Is it managing your weight? Is it managing your food intake? Is it managing your vitamins? Is it managing all of that? And what I realized slowly over time is that it's really about managing energy. And if we're talking about managing energy, then it's not just what you eat. Like I just had a banana before this because I needed a little pick me up and I need a little potassium. If we are managing our energy, is it just about our food intake? No, it's about having the energy to do the things that we want to do. It's also the quality of the energy. What do we feel like? Are you feeling tired, lethargic, depressed, anxious, worried all the time? That's another expenditure of energy, right? All of this falls into it. And what is the quality of that energy? Are you in a good mood? Are you in a bad mood? Are you neutral? Because you don't always have to be happy, content, satisfied, at peace. Those are all good things to shoot for too. So all these things started swirling around in my mind. And what I realized in the process is that my tendency towards perfectionism or having to know the exact right way, the best way to do things that holds me up, that's a lot of pent up energy. And over the years, struggling with anxiety, it's like, what is anxiety? It's a lot of energy, right? Are we generating it or are we using it? So that was another thought of mine. Is anxiety a way that energy is generated, or is it a way that we're expending energy and tiring ourselves out? Because people who have anxiety tend to experience chronic fatigue. Has something to do with the adrenal glands and how we produce all those hormones with our anxiety or whatever that makes those hormones happen, right, and surge through our body. And then our adrenal glands get tired from all that anxiousness. And so we become depleted and we end up depressed. We end up not liking our life or our job or ourselves and getting into this funk. That's all energy, you guys. It's all energy. And I had an epiphany today. I got really, 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 really tired, and I knew I needed to take a nap this afternoon after a friend left. And I was like, I had so many things I thought I was going to do, but what my body is telling me is I need to lay down. And I kind of half dozed, half awake, listening to the wind in the trees outside the house. And we're out in the woods. So there's not really people driving by, but you kind of sort of sometimes hear the cars that go on the road at the end of our driveway. And this very clear idea came to me. It was almost as if someone was speaking to me about it. And it said, you know, we lose trust in ourselves over time because everybody else is telling us what we need to do. And this starts when we're very young with our parents. And it's not that our parents are wrong about telling us what to do because they need to. We're just little children, but we get very used to being told what to do and having things explained to us because we need them to be explained to us. But then as we get older and it's time for us to be take more agency in our lives, so that means take control of our lives, we don't do it the way we think we're doing it. We think we grow up, we make our own decisions, we go out in the world, but really what we're doing is we're still listening to everybody else. We're listening to the experts because the very first experts in our lives were our parents or the people raising us. And so we know and defer to the experts from the very beginning. But if our parents or our guardians or whoever's raising us don't take the time to teach us that it's really within our power to make decisions for our lives and to do things the way we want to do them, we just go along. We go along with what society and culture expects of us, even our lifestyle. I mean, we all follow along and do the same things. Not all of us, but a lot of us, most of us, we grow up, we either find a job or a career path. We either go to college or go to technical school or somehow get ourselves out into the workforce. We get jobs. We look for that perfect someone, there's that word perfect, to complete us, to share our lives with. And then we have children and we buy houses and go on certain types of vacations and we do all these things. And do we really think about them and what they mean to us? Now, everybody's different. Like, not everybody wants to get married. Not everybody wants to have children. Not everybody wants to partner up, even. But there is this steady stream or this steady path that we walk in how we conduct ourselves in lives. And the people who don't do it, like the majority of us, they're the outliers. And they are often either looked at as these wonderful minds that come up with these brilliant things, or they're looked at as losers that, aren't going along with what the rest of us are doing. And from our perspective and from what we've been taught, they look like they're losing at life. And I decided that I needed to challenge that because, and here's what happened to me in my little nap reverie. I realized that a lot of times in my life, I've been tired and I've lacked motivation. And because of the way I was taught, I attributed that lack of motivation to something wrong with me. I was lazy. I didn't want to do what I needed to do. I had responsibilities. And instead, I would pick myself up and force myself to do this thing that felt like a very heavy weight on my chest. And I'm like, it's somehow tied to my chest, and I'm going through life with this heavy thing on me. And what I started to realize in this reverie that I had, that maybe, just maybe, that was myself trying to tell myself that this wasn't right for me. Now, I'm not talking about when you need to get up and go to your job, at the last minute, because we've all had that, right? You hit the snooze for the seventh time and you're like, I just don't want to go into work. You got to go into work. You have a commitment. You made a commitment. You get up, you go, you do your job, you get your paycheck. But maybe, just maybe, what yourself is trying to tell you is this is the wrong job for you. This is the wrong kind of work for me to be doing. But because it's on that path and along that trajectory that our culture and society, our family, our neighbors, our friends, our communities are hurting us towards, we're like, well, of course I should want this. So maybe, just maybe, it's sapping our energy. So maybe, coming full circle to my wellness talk, that is being unwell, not listening to your own intuition, or not even knowing, not being able to listen to your own intuition because you have cut yourself off from it so thoroughly that instead of listening to your higher self, your soul speak to you with, this feels heavy on me, please take this off, we say there's something wrong with us and I need to get over it and I need to push through it. So maybe being unwell is more than not eating the right things or not moving our body. I do believe we need to look for healthy things in our life, a healthy balance, but I believe it is individual. Each one of us has to find that path. So I started this with saying I want to share my new moon intention, which is to trust myself and the flow and process of my life. And I didn't realize how huge a paradigm shift I was trying to make by saying I want to trust myself and the flow and process of my life. Because up until, I would say pretty recently, the last few years, I would often, without realizing it, not consciously think it, but defer to all the influences in my life, the expectations, the experts, to tell me which way to go. Even looking online, when you try to do entrepreneurial like things, there are lots of people to tell you what to do. Um, but the bottom line is this: you have to trust yourself and follow your own intuition on what to do. Doesn't mean you can't learn things. There's lots of things to learn out there, but ultimately, you have to decide what's best for you. And takes a lot of courage because you have to stand up, maybe not in front of an audience of hundreds of thousands, but probably one at a time to start with and say, you know what? I respect your opinion. I appreciate your advice, but I think this is what I need to do with my life, and go for it. And you know what? You are going to make mistakes, or things aren't going to turn out the way you want them to be. And you're going to learn from that. And that's part of the process. So even as I do YouTube lives and Facebook lives, and I'm learning about these things, camera angles and how to present myself and how to hold myself, I do have a tendency to move a lot when I talk. So sometimes when I go back and watch videos, I'm like, ooh, that's not very, pleasing to watch. It's not very relaxing to watch. I'm just moving around too much. And then I go and watch other people on YouTube and like, wow, they've really got their stage presence figured out. I still have those things to work on, and I know it, and I'm okay with that. I still have things to work on with my lighting and my camera angles and how I'm doing all this. But you know what? For now, it's good enough because I'm doing something that I feel, and I don't want it to be too highfalutin. I say I feel called to do, and I don't mean that as in a life purpose kind of thing, but it's something that I want to do. It's something I want to explore, and it's okay if I make mistakes with it. Trust the flow and process of my life. It's not just trusting myself that I've been setting the intention for, it's trusting the flow and process of my life. That when I take a step in the direction that I feel called to move toward, the universe comes and meets me. And then I take another step and another step. So, whatever it is I want to create in my life isn't going to happen sitting down with my planner and planning it all out. It happens, even though that is important, it happens when I start to take action. And as soon as I start to take action, I see my plan kind of become misaligned. And that's because you won't know where you're going until you start walking there. You get a picture, a vision. So over here is my vision board, and this is my wellness vision board. And you'll see that it has pages in it, right? Because every quarter I revisit my vision board and say, is this still in alignment? What have I learned in the past 3 months? What have I done in the past 3 months? And I spend some time reviewing and reflecting, which I'm actually going to do for next quarter, next week. And I'm doing the HB90 boot camp with Sarah Cannon, which I've been doing now for a while, and I'm an alumni of her program. And I think this will be my third or fourth quarter with her and going through this process. And what I do every quarter on a business side and also on a personal side is I kind of look back and say, what worked? What didn't? Am I still feeling in alignment with all these things? And if I'm not feeling in alignment, what is it that needs to change? Is there something I need to let go of? Is there something I need to add? Lately, it's been letting go. There's a lot of things I needed to let go of. Part of that was expectations on what success is and what success is going to look like for me, and understanding that I'm already a success, and I truly am. I acknowledge it. I've come this far in life and I've done a lot of things that I'm very proud of, and some things I'm not so proud of, but live and learn. And ultimately, learning to trust myself and the flow and process of my life isn't just surrendering and saying, okay, I'm a leaf on a breeze or I'm a leaf on the river and I'm just being carried away. But it's also finding my flow instead of fighting against it and trying to swim upstream, right? All these analogies, but swimming with it. I mean, how much further can you go when you figure out the current and go with it? And that may mean a lot of different things for different people. But for me, what that has meant is letting go one at a time of all these expectations of what I think should be, and really figuring out what it is that I want in this second half of my life, because I've reached that midpoint of life. Is a really primal and foundational time of life where you're reevaluating, where have I been? What did I say I wanted my life to be when I was 20? And now I'm 50. And what does my life really truly look like? Um, and I will say for me, I've gotten to where I want it to be. So now the question is, what's next? And I think that is something we all ask in different junctures of our lives. Sometimes we're really busy, like starting my family. I was busy for like 10 years, not paying attention. Like I was doing what I had envisioned I would be doing, what I was working towards, what my goals were. And then I realized about 10 years into that, it's like, wait a minute. Something needs to change. Something different needs to happen. And that's when I really started to get down to that. What I talked about at the beginning is learning to let go of the perfectionism, learning to just jump in and try things and have a little more fun with life and trust the flow and process of it. So it's hard when there's scary things going on. It's hard when you're struggling with your relationships or you're struggling with finances. It's not always easy to sit back and say, what is it I really want to do with my life when you are trying to just keep your head above water. But it's something that you need to do and learn to listen to your intuition. I think that is huge. I think we have underplayed intuition for so long and actually demonized it in a way. I feel like we've separated into the masculine and the feminine, and the masculine is the logical, mathematical, rational, reasonable way of doing things. And the feminine way of doing things is emotional and floaty and all over the place and stuff like that. And it's not really, but it is the place of intuition. And we all have masculine and feminine qualities, and I don't mean that in terms of male and female. It's a whole energetic yin and yang thing. But the yin has been played up as kind of the soft thing, and it's wants to be an artist, whereas the yang wants to be an engineer. And we have turned the engineer path into the gold standard, and turned the artist into the foofy whatever. Nobody gets there except, a few random people. Very, very, very few people make it as an artist. And I have an argument with that, because what do you think making it as an artist is? We can get into that. That's a whole nother thing. But I want to stop there and just say I'm on this path and been working on learning to trust myself and the flow and the process of my life. And I'm having these epiphanies one after the other. They're kind of in the slow mode right now, ever since the pandemic hit and things slowed down and people stayed home. Sometimes it feels like I'm standing still, but I finally am getting the message that that's exactly where you need to be right now. Get off the merry-go-round, get off the roller coaster, and stand still for a while and see how that feels. It's hard to do because our society really has a love for movement, move forward, forward, forward. Even if you're like going backward, that seems to be something better than just standing still. I can feel my antsiness when I say, okay, tonight I'm just going to sit and relax and watch a TV program with my husband, or a movie. We've been talking about getting the Alfred Hitchcock movies out. We watched, what was it, Rear Window? That was a really good one. Sometimes that's hard for me because it feels like I'm not doing anything. I'm not making progress on something. Uh, but I'll tell you one thing I have really learned to enjoy about standing still, and that is sitting still with a friend and having lunch, or just coffee and chatting, or going for a walk on the park. The walking helps me with that sensation of moving forward, but also having that time of stillness with a friend. It's really important to sit still once in a while. And I think there are times in your life where you're supposed to sit still longer than you want to. I shouldn't say supposed to. You need to sit still longer than you want to get in touch with who you really are. Get in touch with your higher self, if you want to call it. Get in touch with your soul. Get in touch with your intuition. And it's hard to do in a society that's like, move it, move it, move it. Remember that song? All right, Shadow the Witch. I wish I had a copy of the book. I ordered some more because some people ordered it. If you were at Orlando Reads Books and you placed an order with me for a signed copy of Shadow of the Witch, I am waiting for those copies to come in. Believe it or not, Amazon, when you order author copies, can take a little longer to get in instead of just ordering through Prime. So waiting on those. So they are coming. I will message you guys when they're ready, and I will get them in the mail to you as soon as possible. And I'm going to throw in a little treat. I'm not going to tell you what it is, but I'm going to throw in a little treat just because you have been so patient. And I ran out of my paperbacks at Orlando Reads Books, which, woohoo, that was awesome. That was really awesome. First time I've ever run out of stock when I was at a signing event. So that was there. Very, very cool. So thank you guys. So Shadow the Witch, here's what you need to know. I'm going to have advanced reader copies ready, and I'm going to be sending a link to sign up for advanced reader copies in my newsletter. So if you're not a subscriber to my newsletter, you won't get that. So if you want to subscribe, I've got the link down in my notes. When you do subscribe to my newsletter, you will get a free copy of my novel Skin Thief, which is a precursor to Shadow the Witch. Now, you don't have to have read Skin Thief in order to really understand and enjoy Shadow the Witch, but it is going to fill in some information that I don't give out in that novel, because well, I don't want to get on all the details, but the two main characters in Skin Thief will have at least one book, but I think it's going to end up being a duet, two novels in their own series, which don't ask me when that's coming out because I got to finish Soul Tracker trilogy now that I've started it. So, Shadow the Witch, if you want an advanced reader copy, you need to subscribe to my newsletter, and it's totally free. I just ask if you don't mind. It's not a requirement, but I ask if you're getting an advanced reader copy that you take the time to leave a review of the book. Whatever you think of it. I'm not in charge of that. Whatever you think of the novel. Also, if you want to join my coven, which is Melissa's Coven on Facebook, it literally is Melissa's Coven. You just do a search for it and you'll find it. If you can't find it, you can message me, author Melissa Lummis on Facebook. All my social media that I'm active on, there's links in it. I'm not active on a lot of them, but I am active on Instagram, Facebook, and MeWe. I just wanted to have some alternative since Facebook owns Instagram. I just wanted some alternative. So, who knows? You never know what's going to go on. I mean, everybody was on MySpace how many years ago, and we thought that was going to be there forever. I think people get the idea that, these things will be there forever, and they won't. All right, that's about it. I just wanted to let you guys know what's been happening. I'm getting myself back on track. I took a week off when I got back from Orlando Reed's books because I really needed to, well, replenish my energy. So I was talking about wellness is energy management, and that's something I'm really focusing on and learning how to do. And it's different now. It's different that I'm older. It's different in that I don't want to be focused on weight loss and weight management and the size of clothes I'm wearing, or even numbers on a scale or measurements or even blood work numbers. I mean, obviously, I want to keep those things in a healthy range, but I want to focus more on how do I feel? What's the energy level? And if I have a high energy level, is it a good quality energy? Is it an anxious, running around trying to get things done energy? Is it a lethargic, I don't have the energy, which is a type of energy, by the way. So think of vibration. They talk about low vibe, high vibe, all that stuff. Think of it as energy, both the amount of it and the quality of it. And if you are struggling, if you're having a hard time getting moving, or getting motivated on something you want to do, ask yourself why. You're trying to tell yourself something. Maybe you have a fear, like perfectionism is really a fear of doing things wrong. Address it. And the only way to address it, I'm sorry to say, guys, is to just jump in. If you have a fear of something, the best thing to do is to face that fear. That's the answer 99% of the time, but also to bring a little love to the situation. Yeah, there's so much more I could talk about, but I'm going to get going. Just know that everything I talk about on here is me processing things. I do not claim to have it all figured out. I post a lot of positive, motivating stuff on my personal page, when I'm on social, and my author page. I try to be encouraging. I try to be positive. I focus on humor. I focus on nature and witchy stuff, but on the fun side of things. Sometimes I dive into the darkness, but I have a kind of a twisted sense of humor, so I like to use humor to laugh myself through those dark moments. But I don't have it all figured out. I'm just like everybody else. I'm figuring it out as I go. But I like to share what I'm learning because I have gotten a lot out of people who are being brave enough or just willing to talk about their own journey and what they think and how they feel about that journey. There's so much we can learn from each other if we could just stop and slow down and stand still and listen. So that's about it. I'm so, so, so grateful to have you here. Thank you for watching. If you're watching in the replay, please don't hesitate to leave comments. I'll be getting back onto this and checking out those comments. Check out the link to subscribe to my newsletter. If you haven't already, subscribe to the channel. If you like this video, give it a thumbs up. And if you subscribe, make sure you tap that bell so that you get notified next time there's a video. All right, you guys, Have a great weekend, and I'll see you next week. Magic with Melissa is every Friday at 4 p.m., and you'll never know what I'll be talking about. So don't miss an episode. Love you guys. Take care, and I'll see you next week. Oh, and don't forget, make every day magical. Take care.